Alrighty, today we're going to be making lasagna soup. I haven't made this recipe before, but I'm very excited to try it because it feels very cozy for fall. So to start off, we're going to go ahead and get our big pot heated up on kind of like a medium-high heat, kind of halfway between medium and high. And we're going to go ahead and add some olive oil. Just a tablespoon will do. You can kind of eyeball it. Once we get that in there, we're going to go ahead and add some ground beef. We'll get this in there and we'll just stir until nice and browned, kind of cooked 90% of the way full. I'm going to pull my sleeves up a bit. All right. Now we just give this some time to cook. All right, now that we've got that nice and brown, we're gonna go ahead and add our onion, garlic to this mix. So I've just taken a really big white onion. I love onion, so I added a lot. Just gonna throw that on in there. I'm gonna use most of that because that's a lot of onion. Throw it in there. And then garlic. The recipe calls for just 4 garlic cloves. I like to use pre-chopped, but you know, to each their own. And I'm a garlic person, so I'm gonna go ahead and just add a couple big spoonfuls to my mix. What's nice about this is you can kind of customize it to your taste. So if you don't like onion, you can add a little less. If you're not too much into garlic, you can add less on that too. So now we're gonna go ahead and cook this for around 5 minutes until the onions are nice and soft. And by then we should have this ground beef almost completely, all the pink almost completely gone. We'll come back to this in 5 minutes. All right, now that we've got this all nice and softened, all of our ground beef has been browned, I'm gonna go ahead and add my spices. You can use kind of a mixture of Italian spices. I used a handy dandy Italian seasoning mixture. But the recipe does call for individual spices. It's kind of up to your preference, what you prefer to use. I enjoy a good shortcut, so that's what I use. Now that we've got this in, we're also going to add salt, essential. I'm just going to use a healthy handful. And some red pepper flakes. This one, you know, you can kind of do up to how spicy you like things. I like it pretty spicy, so I added a bit more than the recipe calls for. The recipe just says you only need half a teaspoon, but I like it pretty spicy. So I added a bit more. I'm going to stir that all to combine. Mixing that all up. Looking good. All right. Now that we've got our seasonings in there, I'm going to add some tomato paste as well. But once again, the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to go ahead and actually use just a spoon. And go 1, 2. Stir this all together. Kind of start incorporating that tomato element. Because now that we've got all this in here, we're going to go ahead and add our crushed tomatoes and diced tomatoes. I'm just going to pour those cans straight in. And we can see that kind of starting to form the soup. I'm going to combine this to let this keep simmering, because our next step is to actually take one of these cans and fill it with water, and then we'll add that to this as well. Nice and simple measurements. So now that we've got this all in here, we're gonna bring this to a simmer. Kind of let it get a little bubbly. And once it's nice and bubbly, we're gonna go ahead and reduce it to a medium low and kind of just let it cook for around 10 more minutes. But the key part of before doing that, I should say, is adding the noodles. Very important part of this. So the lasagna noodles, I just use store-bought noodles, and I just kind of snap them in half. They're real easy if you do them one by one. And it's nice because it kind of gives you all different shapes of lasagna noodles. So I've got some medium, some of it smaller, some of it bigger. And I'm just going to throw those in here, kind of one by one. Trying to incorporate them into the mixture. I'm actually going to stir this before I add too many. See, there's a real big one. I want it kind of all different sizes in my soup. It's kind of a mixture of both, I guess, now. Pasta and soup, which is kind of a fun way to do it. I guess you kind of have to fold these in because I don't want them to break. I'm going to add a couple more, I think, because I am a noodle girl. As you can see, that one box made a ton. I don't think I'm going to put them all in here, but I do think I'm going to put quite a few more in. Just kind of stirring to combine those, getting those all incorporated to the mixture of what will become the soup. Obviously, the noodles need to be submerged to cook, just like in any other sort of boiling noodle recipe. All right. Now I'm going to let this sit for 10 minutes. Kind of stirring throughout that 10 minutes to keep everything submerged, keep everything working together, and come back. All right, now that our noodles are done, they've been in there for around 10 minutes. You can kind of tell they're done because they're very soft. They aren't breaking anymore. They're just kind of fully cooked, no hard edges, all kind of mixed together and combined. We can go ahead and turn that off. Our final step is to make our ricotta mixture. So in order to make this, you'll need one container of ricotta cheese and heavy cream. Nothing exciting. I'm going to take the ricotta, put it into a bowl. I'm going to add my heavy cream. I'm going to put this down for a sec so I can actually add this heavy cream. Just 1/4 of a cup, just a bit. And we're gonna go ahead and whip this together just with a fork until it's all kind of smooth. So it shouldn't take too long because it's all cream at the end of the day. Now that looks good. Nice and smooth. I'm going to go ahead and add in some Parmesan cheese. I'm just using nothing exciting. Just going to stir that in. Cheese on cheese. And now you're good to go. You'll take your soup. You'll add kind of a dollop to your bowl. Looks like 2 dollops. Man, that looks good. And then you're gonna add a big serving of cheesy, creamy ricotta. And you've got a great meal right there. Enjoy!